Now that we've seen some presumptions of what we can expect from Nintendo Switch 2, and there's been some disappointment from fans that we might just be getting another Nintendo Switch that's maybe a little bit stronger, does Nintendo really go that route? Or even if this thing looks like a Nintendo Switch, is there still some sort of gimmick that sets it apart from its predecessor? So what's up, Waluigi? Trent from Trentendo. Today, we're going to talk about what kind of gimmicks we could see from Nintendo for Nintendo Switch 2. Doesn't mean that it will happen, doesn't mean that it's not going to be just a Nintendo Switch, but if Nintendo has shown us anything, that sometimes they are willing to change things and make things goofy or exciting in ways that we wouldn't have thought about. So even though this might look like another Nintendo Switch, it doesn't mean that that necessarily was going to happen. So before we happen to that, hit that subscribe button, like this video if you enjoy this type of content. We are trying to hit 5,000 subscribers by the end of the year, so if you enjoy this stuff, hit that button, and let's dive in. So first up, let's talk about what probably one of the more obvious choices would be here. And that would be to make this to some sort of form of a Nintendo DS with a dual screen. Now there's a couple of ways that they could do this. I think one way makes much more sense than the other. Let's talk about the way that makes not as much sense to me, but is still possible, I guess. And that is being legit, just attach another screen to the system. Now, we've heard, I think, like we saw a couple leaks earlier in the year about a Nintendo Switch Attach. You know, that was what the name was going to be. You know, the YouTube survey went out with it. What are you attaching to a Nintendo Switch? Well, it looks like we're going to be attaching the Joy-Cons. They're not going to be sliding on. But what if you could attach literally another screen, make this thing a dual screen? Would it be another full-size screen like the 8-inch screen like we saw? Or could you even maybe they find a way to take your old Nintendo Switch, and it looks like there was that USB port on the top, the USB-C port. Could you attach another Switch, like an old Switch, or even another Nintendo Switch 2 or something, or another screen that they make? Like, there's a ways you could do it. Now, the problem behind this is that it's already an 8-inch screen. This isn't a little small screen from the 3DS that you can throw in your pocket. This is a big screen. To attach like another full-on size screen on that thing is going to be pretty big, and depending on how it attaches, you're not going to want that thing loosey-goosey. You're going to want the thing nicely attached to it. So I don't think that that's the way Nintendo goes with this. If that is the sort of the gimmick that they go with, is like another screen. One thing I could see this way being, though, is that this feature would probably be locked to docked or to a TV mode rather than docked mode. Maybe you could attach it to or connect it to a laptop, connect it to a TV. Like, there's been rumors about how this thing could connect to TV via like Bluetooth, or like you could cast onto it somehow. So the idea being here, maybe even if it's like linked to the dock somehow and the dock's still plugged in the TV, that there's some sort of communication. This thing basically turns into like the Wii U pad. So you have like the main game on the TV, and then on your Switch handheld that you're playing with, you still have your touchscreen. You could do like your DS stuff there, where you see your menu, your pause, like you have all that kind of stuff, your inventory, your map, whatever the case may be, is on the Switch. But on the TV, you're seeing the actual gameplay. So like, you're thinking like Zelda here. You've got the map of Hyrule at the bottom. You can click through like your items and your weapons and whatever, and you can equip them and whatnot. And you do it all from there rather than from the pause menu. So that would be the way I think Nintendo does that. So maybe that's sort of a gimmick per se you could look at and see Nintendo doing. And that rather than having a physical screen you actually attach, you're able to connect this thing via Bluetooth or casting or whatever the case may be. And you have two screens, being the TV and then the actual Switch in your hand. Maybe they even get fancy with it and allow you to connect it to a computer somehow. Maybe there's an app or some sort of program you can download. Probably not, I wouldn't think so, but it would be cool if they would do it some way that you could connect it to other screens outside of a TV, maybe any sort of display you could just kind of do this with. So that's kind of the first way I could see Nintendo doing something gimmicky, is that you're going to have two screens, but it's going to be whatever your display is, your TV, maybe you plug it into a computer via HDMI or something, and then you have your actual Switch below. Next up, we got to talk about motion. Nintendo with the Wii was kind of the first ones to bring it to a home console. The Wiimote, Wii Sports. Nintendo's not going to forget that. They still had this in the Switch even, We had all the sorts of motion games. They weren't necessarily as popular, nor were they as widespread as with the Wii was, but I don't think that Nintendo is going to go fully away from that. So with that being said, maybe they embrace it more in the Switch 2 generation than they did in Switch 1. There's a couple ways they could do that. We've heard of a camera being talked about that could be attached again to the top of the Switch. Maybe this is when it's docked, you have a camera on it. It now has provided better motion control for whatever game you're playing. Maybe they update, I'm thinking Switch Sports, Wii Sports, stuff like that. Nintendo has shown that they really like to do that kind of stuff. And if they have a better motion control, maybe they do something more crazy with it. Maybe, there's other ways to incorporate a camera into other games. Nintendo's always coming up with different games and different things like that they mess around with. So I wouldn't be surprised to see some sort of a camera. Think of this like maybe the Kinect for the Xbox 360 back in the day, where it's a separate, maybe it's even a separate thing. Like that could be another way that Nintendo just finds some more money for us to spend on stuff for them, is to give us another camera that's sold separately. You could attach it for specific games. Don't discount that. Even though we're hearing stuff about how there's going to be updated motion control with the Joy-Cons, maybe that's just better motion sensing, things like that. So I wouldn't be surprised to see maybe a more emphasis on motion with the Switch 2. Now the hope here is that they don't go the way of the Wii and make basically everything motion controlled. That maybe there's just some select games, or maybe even some of those games, if you want to have motion control, like thinking like Zelda, maybe they have the option for it if you want to swing the sword, but if you want to just do the traditional button game, just give it to us that way as well. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Nintendo go that route as well, with either a camera or just something more with the motion, because I think there's a lot they could even go like virtual reality or like augmented reality with the camera. There's like, think of like Mario Kart Live Circuit, like there's some stuff like that they could potentially do with a camera. I don't know, I'm not technical enough to really be able to tell you much more about it, but I think that could definitely be a way, whether it's with the camera or whether it's just updating the Joy-Cons to be more sensitive or whatever the case may be. I could definitely see motion control playing a part in Nintendo Switch 2. And honestly, those are probably the two main ways I see this thing going. I don't know if we see much more from Nintendo as outside of those two gimmicks. If this thing really is going to look and play like a Switch 2, I don't know what else they could really do to make this that much different from the Switch 1. But Nintendo's creative. There's lots of things that they've done in the past that we wouldn't have ever really thought of. So I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts down below at this point in the video. What do you think Nintendo could possibly be planning for the gimmick, if any, for this next system? Because like I said, from what it looks like and everything we've seen so far, it looks like this is going to be another Nintendo Switch system. But that doesn't mean that Nintendo won't find a way to set it apart from its predecessor. So I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts down below on that. Hope you enjoyed this update. Like I said, hit that subscribe button, like this video. It really does help. And we're trying to get to 5,000 subscribers by the end of the year. With your help, we can get there. So hope you enjoyed. And until next time, catch you later.